whatever I'm dealing with, I fake it. They usually won't know. I would not have been able to continue to work if 2020 actually hadn't happened. If 2020 hadn't happened, where I got shut down, and then when I reopened, I started limiting my schedule, I reduced it by 50%. Honestly, if I hadn't have had that, I would have closed my business. And being able to see ridiculously 3 clients a day during my full-blown Epstein Barr moments, it allowed me to lay down. So that's one of the, besides like that low-grade fever feeling, I was just fatigued. Now, fatigue is different than tired, and fatigue is different from sleepy. Sleepy is not what I was. My body had this weird, it's almost like gravity got stronger for me, only me. I had this weird pull down. It was over my entire body, just started to sink, and it's like I couldn't fight it. And so I had to plan for that. And so I would wake up early. Those of you who know me, I don't wake up early, but during the bulk of my illness, I had to plan. I had to wake up at 7 to get my shower, to get back into bed. And I would do that throughout the day. I calculated I was in bed like 14 to 15 hours per day, even working. So I would get up and take a shower, get back in bed. Get up and put a little makeup on, get back in bed. Get up and get dressed, get back in bed. Go and see my first client of the day. Schedule 1 hour after that person. I was pretending that it was to COVID clean, but I was in bed because I couldn't function. Then I would go see a second person and go back to bed. And I would go see a third person and I would come back to bed. And I would stay in bed. My sweet husband would cook. I would get up and eat and then go back to bed. And then be in bed for 8 full hours. When you have Epstein Barr and ME, there is no refreshing sleep. You cannot sleep this off. Again, I wasn't sleepy. And I think that that's really very confusing. Oh, this one's so good. I just love all my teas. Every time I show you a tea, I'm gonna be like, oh, this one's so good. I was not sleepy. In fact, my brain, even though I was dealing with some brain fog, my brain was very active and very stimulated. And that led me, these are too big. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out a different solution for these. But these are fitting. Even though, my brain was active. And again, gratefully so, because I was able to literally figure it out. I was able to literally continue to read, continue to educate myself, communicate with some of the other people on the forums, and, continue on my trying to heal myself journey, So because I spent a lot of time in bed, second box, I damaged my vertebrae. I have had many x-rays and MRIs and CT scans and blah, blah, blah. In order to comfort yourself, you all know you kind of have to be in the fetal position. Do you all know what the fetal position is? I know you do. And I just told you that I was in bed for 14, 15 hours a day in a curved C-shaped position. You know, you bring your knees up and you get, and now I have grown bone spurs in those gaps because the gaps were open. And my body, you know, your body fills in the gaps. It grows those bone spurs. And so I've got these little spikes, these little tips on each of my vertebrae in the upper thoracic spine. And so having to now try to posture back is very painful. But things are getting better. I do have different flare-ups. And let me check the time because I do have to go to work. It's 11. I do have flare-ups. And so what I have learned on my own, no doctor has told me this. Why would they? You know, there's no cure for Epstein Barr, and they have the traditional medical doctors really don't have any advice. And on this forum, you know, I get the privilege to see thousands and thousands of other people who've experienced going to their doctor locally or internationally that they have been told just to go home and stay in bed for a month. And it doesn't fix it. It doesn't fix it. Your body is not equipped. It ignores lipid enveloped viruses, and you know, what are you going to do? So after, I would say 8 months, I was able to kind of put it in remission, but I do get these kind of flare-ups, and I think I talk about that in another video, where you continue to kind of have these little peaks and valleys of a couple of good weeks and a couple of bad weeks and a couple of good weeks and a couple of bad weeks, where your body's just, it takes a long time. And through my research, you know, Epstein Barr or any, come here, lipid enveloped virus damages the mitochondria. And so mitochondria is inside, there are thousands of mitochondria in each cell, and that is what gives you your energy, your get up and go. And so the gasoline for the mitochondria is ATP, and that's a lot of different cofactors of your vitamins. And any kind of virus can kind of bring your vitamins down, where your body stops absorbing. I had one of the very first signs was my fingernails. And I know that sounds so crazy, but I immediately noticed a vitamin deficiency because of my fingernails. Now, something you all may not know about me, up till 2020, I did my fingernails. I loved doing my fingernails. Even clients would comment, how are my fingernails always painted? I had one particular client, she was like, every time I come in here, your nails are always done fresh. And she thought I was going to get them done. I love doing them. I love doing it. It was like a Friday night special at my house. I would take off my fingernail polish. I would file my nails, push back my cuticles, clean them, you know, do all the things. I loved polishing. I even got into that UV gel thing where you bought your own light and you put your gels on and you stick it in the thing. I did that for years, every Friday night. And the reason I'm telling you this is that I know when my nail changed. I even showed one of the doctors my nail, and they just brushed it off because they didn't believe me that I understood my body enough. I am so in tune. I understand my body. I know my body. I look at my fingernails all the time. And so for her to kind of brush off that I was like, here, look at this, I have a vitamin deficiency. She was like, I don't know. I do. I know. Ridging in your nails is a vitamin B12 deficiency. And when I first noticed that, I stopped painting my nails, and I stopped painting my nails for 2020 because I don't know. Actually, my nails are a lot better. I'll try to get you a close up. See that ridging? They're discolored because I'm a hairdresser. That's not normal. That's not my nail. So that was one of the first signs. And actually looking back, I think another one of the first signs that something was going on, where I was dealing with heavy metal toxicity pre-Epstein Barr, was I was dizzy. And, you know, it's funny because it overlapped, some of my symptoms overlapped with perimenopause. I get it. I'm in my 40s. Some of you know that I'm a dancer. I've danced all my life. I love dancing. And for many years, I've been doing flamenco, which is Spanish dancing. And one of the things that I noticed that changed in my body was the inability to do a turn or a spin. Now, I have learned the correct way since I was 4 years old how to spin or turn without getting dizzy. I took ballet and could spin and turn. I was ice skating and would do spins on the ice, which is very fast, without getting dizzy or, you know, unsteady, all the way up through my adult career doing flamenco. And one of the first signs was probably 2019. I was learning a really special dance that I've waited my whole flamenco career to do, using a special, maybe I'll put a photo in, using a special prop. In flamenco, there are a lot of props, like a fan and a shawl, which is called abanico or manton. And this particular prop that I just showed you in a photo is the bata de cola, and it's a type of skirt that you use as an accessory. And it really was one of those markers for me in my career to finally get to perform using that. And it takes great skill. It's very heavy. It is very heavy. And I was so excited. My instructor, Diana, was so encouraging and really knew I could do it. Like, I loved that. Like, just hearing her tell me that I was ready and that it was very beautiful and that she trusted me to perform this with great skill. And it's kind of has a little bit of a slower flow. And we were doing some really beautiful turns. And I was wobbly, and I beat myself up. I was like, what the hell? You are fine. Are you strong? What is going on? And I couldn't recover. I couldn't recover from these turns. And in the middle of the class, I was like, I have to stop. Like, I am dizzy, like I'm about to puke. One turn. And I was dizzy, I was nauseous, I was spinning, and I remember my feet just weren't steady, and I was just trying to hold on and just kind of keep my foot. Anyway, so that was really so disappointing. And, 2020, we had to close the dance studio, and they have since opened, but I have been too ill to go back for many reasons. I do have PEM, which is post-exertional malaise. And I'll talk about that in a different video because this video is way too long, and I'm getting ready to let you go and finish up my tea. But it's looking really cute. And I think I'll be able to like stack. I'm really, really pleased with that. I'll link it below if you want to. But so my fingernails and my lack of dancing were one of the first two things, and I'm just so grateful that I was aware of my body, and it's funny how I'm noticing as I'm healing, looking back, there's been this weird arc. So I had some small symptoms like my fingernails and dizziness that grew to full-fledged, I can't make it out of bed. And now coming back down, it seems like the last, as I'm recovering, it's almost like it's reversing. The last few symptoms that's now happening that I'm still working on is the vitamin deficiencies, hence the fingernails still, and dizziness. I couldn't spin. I would fall over. So it's interesting, this arc now looking back. I'm gonna get it together. It's gonna be all right. I have increased from seeing 3 clients a day to now seeing 4. So that's progress, I guess. But there it is. I think I've said everything I want to say. Thank you for watching the whole video. And I am going to be posting a lot more about my endocrine crash. I've had an entire endocrine system failure due to Epstein Barr and heavy metals. And I'll talk a little bit about heavy metals in another video, and ME, CFS, and PEM. I have it all. And then I will probably come on, if you want me to, and show you the supplements that I've been taking, not only to tear down that lipid envelope, but to help recover. And I can share that with you if you want. But thanks for listening. Thanks for being a smart mouthy. And I'm going to finish up my tea and go to work. I'll see you later. Bye.